The Nigeria Police Council has confirmed Olatunji Rilwan Disu as the new Inspector General of Police following the resignation of Kayode Egbetokun. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will formally swear him in during Wednesday's Federal Executive Council meeting at the State House. The transition raises pressing questions. How will Disu confront insecurity, rebuild public trust, and respond to calls for reforms? His background spanning leadership of the Lagos Rapid Response Squad Service as FCT Commissioner of Police and most recently Assistant Inspector General overseeing the Special Protections Unit suggest both operational and institutional experience. Tonight, we ask, what does his confirmation outside the Senate process mean constitutionally and politically? How independent can the police be under Tinubu's administration? And more importantly, what should Nigerians expect from his leadership at a time of persistent insecurity and demands for deeper reforms? Well, joining me right now to discuss this is Dr Emmanuel Ojukwu. He's a Commissioner of Police, is retired. I also have a Provost, that's a Police Public Relations, that's a Police Public Relations School. Joins, of course, the conversation also. I have Nick Agule. Nick Agule is a Public Affairs Analyst. It's great to have you, gentlemen. All right, let me start with you, Ms. Nick. Ms. Nick, let me first start with what you think of this recent change in the leadership of Nigerian police. Of course, Mr. Tunji Disu has been put forward by Mr. President to replace outgone Mr. Kayode Egbetokun. Looking at where we are coming from, where we are at the moment, and the caliber of person being put forward, would you say that Mr. President has made the right choice?
Yes. If you look at the CV of IGP, the new IGP, you will see that he has been properly and thoroughly groomed for the role. Like you said in your intro, he's been through the mill, starting from his commissioning as an assistant superintendent of police. He has risen through the ranks to the rank of an assistant inspector general of police. And through that time, he's got all of the experiences and the competencies that you expect a policeman that leads the Nigerian police force should have. What I would say is that we have had perhaps maybe 23 men occupy that position of the Inspector General of Police, and it will appear to me that they come into office, they do the same thing that their predecessors do, and they leave office. I expect the new IGP to be different. Let him do things differently. Like I wrote in a short article, or maybe I say this way, we're looking for an Inspector General of Police that will bring modernity, that will introduce technology, that will run the Nigerian police as you will see police anywhere else in the world. I mean, anywhere else in the world where you go, and I'm not talking about the developed world, I'm talking about African countries and the Gulf states and all of that. When you go there, you are going to see policing in a different way. And that is a policing that hands the citizens an emergency response number so that they become the first line of defense in the security architecture. In Nigeria, by Nigerian Communication Commission's records, we have over 220 million mobile phones in Nigeria. I expect the new IGP to put in place a system like you have, like here in the UK, it's a 999 system. In the US, it's a 911 system. Put that architecture in place so that all these 220 million telephone lines become part of the security architecture.
Before we even get into what is expected or what is ahead for the new Chief of Police, let me just leave you for a moment, Nick. Please permit me, and let me go straight to Dr. Ojukwu. I mean, you are once a Commissioner of Police. You're also the Provost of the Police a public relations school, Abuja. I mean, you're part of the system. I would like you to, we are still staying with the person of Mr. Olatunji Disu. I mean, from what you know about him, you are also part of the system. What kind of a person is he? Did the president make the right choice?
Well, I've known IGP Olatunji Disu for many years, and our paths have crossed in the course of policing, and even after retirement. I've met him a number of times, and I find him as somebody who is open, approachable, is thoroughbred. I'm sure he's wearing a good cap at a time such as this. It's a square peg in a square hole. He will perform, given the necessary working environment. My colleague earlier on was talking about equipment and infrastructure and that. These things are not provided by the police anywhere in the world. Society provides them for their police. I believe that he has got the capacity, he has got the training, he also has the will, and he has the strength and the courage to deliver. Let's give him the support and the enabling environment to function, and we'll have for us a good police force that can stand the test of time.
I mean, you said something. You said that when it comes to equipment, that the police force doesn't necessarily provide those things for themselves. That's their work tools. Maybe the institution itself doesn't do that. That is society. I'd like you to please expatiate on what exactly you mean.
Now, elsewhere in the world, communities, municipal councils, states build the infrastructure for their police. They provide the equipment, they buy the equipment, they buy the arms, buy the materials, buy the communication equipment we're talking about, like CCTV or the 3-digit number my friend was talking about before. These toll-free lines are not provided by the police. I was in the police when I was first PRO. We made many attempts to get the Nigerian Commission to give us 911 or 119, as the case may be. It is only of recent, in the last, I think last year or so, that we got 933 that is operating in Abuja. So for all these years, I was in police for like 2 years, we never had it. So CCTV is not being provided by the police. Some time ago, there was one in Abuja, which did not work. It wasn't police contract. It was awarded by the government of the day. So if the government does what it should do, if they want the police to function like a modern police, they should provide modern equipment for their police.
All right, thank you very much. We needed to clear the air on that because for some Nigerians that are watching, they'll feel, so what is now the role of the government if communities have to, be mandated to provide these things, for the police to function effectively? We know that some agencies, some individuals usually support. They buy cars and all of that, but it's more complementary and not, this is just, my perception of it, and I'm sure the perception of many Nigerians. But thank you for putting some clarity to that. We'll go on a quick break, but before then, I don't know if Mr. Nick would like to just react in just 30 seconds to some of the things that have been said before we go on our break.
I would definitely would like to put in a word to say that the funding for policing in Nigeria is different from the funding for policing elsewhere. In Nigeria, we have a federal police, a centralized police, and the primary duty to fund our police rests with the federal government. In other crimes, like in London, where I'm speaking to you now, we have the Metropolitan Police. It's only for London. It's not even at the counties that are next to London here. So if we want the devolvement in the funding of the police, then we need to actually devolve the police to local policing. We cannot have a central police and then expect maybe some national government to be responsible for that. The federal government cannot carry the police alone and expect funding from elsewhere. If they want participation in the funding of the police as my colleague is saying, the former commissioner is saying, they should release the police to the states. You know, because we're not even talking about local government. You go elsewhere, local government have their police. Cities have their police. Yes, like I said, London has got its police. If you go to Houston, you have Houston police. So they should release this police and let funding come from all over the place into policing. We can't have one central federal police and expect some other persons to start funding it.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll expand the conversation to look at the calls for state police. Even the president seems to put a bit of pressure on the House to do something about it. We'll also look what lies ahead for the new chief of police. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Politics HQ on News Central Television. I still have Dr. Emmanuel Ojukwu. Of course, is the Commissioner of Police, is retired now, and is also the Provost of the Police Public Relations School, Abuja. He joins virtually. I also have as guest Nick Agule as a Public Affairs Analyst. Gentlemen, thank you for staying with me. All right, now let's quickly look at what lies ahead for the new Chief of Police. There have been challenges before now. There's the issue of insecurity, which of course we see scattered across several parts of the nation, from kidnappings to killings to abductions and all of that. And then there's also the issue of public trust, right? Where people feel confident, particularly with the police, to be able to walk up to them and say, you know what, police is truly your friend, amongst a plethora of other issues. I will start with you, of course, Dr. Ojukwu. I would also like you to reflect, your times to while you are still in service, even as commissioner. What do you think can be done to candidly address these issues?
Are common and are very well known. We have common of crimes pervading the entire states of Nigeria. There's nowhere that is actually safe. But such problems have to be solved. To solve problems of such magnitude, you need to scan those problems, find the roots, identify perpetrators, identify triggers, identify financiers, and begin to knock them out one by one. Something motivated somebody to go into crime, it needs to be addressed. The ability of the police and other law enforcement agencies to step on these issues of crime also has to be checked and looked at extensively, holistically. And I tell you, frankly, we need to have the political will to actually solve the issues of crime in this country. And so, except we put our heads together, find out what is causing these issues, and address how to solve them collectively and holistically, we remain where we are.
All right, I'm going to butt in here. I'm going to butt in here. You said we need to have the political will. What do you mean?
You and I are very much aware that in the last couple of years, the fear of insecurity and the actual insecurity has been with us. And a lot of work has been done to identify. The government also came out and said, we've identified the financiers of terrorism. The question is, what has the government done towards that? Having identified them, what the government do? We'll not see anybody prosecuted. A good number of those who are involved in issues of corruption have not been prosecuted. Those prosecuted and found guilty in court were released by government. They were granted pardon. That shows that the government is not serious to address the issue. And I would like to blame the police for not performing. The police is a victim. You need to fund the police properly. You need to motivate the men. You need to train them. Policemen they are not trained at all. That is the issue. The training deficit is so glaring. And once they don't have the capacity, they don't have the equipment, the salary is poor, the morale to fight or to deal with issues of crime, all these things are at their barest minimum. And so the thing keeps repeating itself. Laws are made and sanctions imposed to serve as deterrent. There is no deterrence, or even it's at the barest minimum. And so the tendency for somebody to commit a crime and go away is that Nigeria has given them immunity for their impunity.
All right, I'm going to stay with you, sir. I'm going to stay with you for a while. Please, Nick, kindly permit me. I'm going to stay with you for a while. Particularly, you said something about training. You said, from your words, the training is almost non-existent. So how do people even join the force in the first place? And I'm talking about what people generally call the recruits. Don't they go through some form of training to, in a way, to interfere, or are they just given rifles and told to go to the streets?
They're not given rifles because you have to give somebody some basic training to handle the rifle. Rifle is very technical. It is lethal. It can kill the person handling it. It can kill everybody else. And we call it accidental discharge, which is a misnomer. Nothing is like accidental discharge. Every weapon has safety catch. What I'm saying, in effect, is that for many, many years, Nigerians have been glossing over the issue of police training. We have so many training institutions. They are not equipped. There's no accommodation, no hostel facility, no food, or barely they eat like those who are in prison. That's a shame in itself. The training equipment are not there. The classrooms are dilapidated. The materials to teach and the teaching aids are not there. The staff there too are not motivated. All over this country, government is very much aware of it. Government in Nigeria has set up various commissions to look into how to make the police functional. Some of them have done their reports and placed before government. Sometimes they got in 2012 or so. And former President Goodluck Jonathan, he visited police college in Ikeja. And what he saw, I thought it must have so embarrassed him that this is where we train our recruits, those who come into the police fresh. They stay 6 months, 9 months, nothing happens to them. It's just garbage in and garbage out. They come out raw, as raw as they were. The only difference is that they're wearing uniform and they know how to do salutes, which is nothing. That's not police. The reason is, how do you control crowd? How do you control people who are aggrieved? How do you solve crime? How do you manage inefficiency in the country? But the police cannot do that, except that train. And it's only of recent, which to the glory of God, we now find that police training institutions, a law has been made to grant them some financial autonomy for government to fund them directly instead of formal envelope system you give to the police and then to share among all the training institutions, which amount to nothing. So maybe from this government now, the political will has been seen, the bill has been signed into law now. Once they release money to police training institutions, they can be able to train people at the first level, second level, tertiary level, so they can come out as good police officers to offer services to Nigerians. You can't blame somebody if you have not trained him.
All right, thank you very much. I mean, there are issues, obviously, but Nick, let's get straight to the issue of state police, which has been a conversation for years. And apparently, Mr. President's body language suggests that he really wants that to happen. Do you think this will be a solution to many of our security challenges in the country?
Before I answer your question on state police, I just want to align my views with the Commissioner's views. And look at a typical Nigerian policeman vis-a-vis his metropolitan counterpart here in London. You will just see the difference. You look at the patrol cars that the Metropolitan Police are using, even the way they look very smart in their uniform, well-fed, and all of that, will tell you that you can't even approach them and say, let me give you a bribe, the way you even look at them. So that is definitely something that government needs to work on. And that part of that is funding, and part of funding is the state police. But I just want to also add that, like I started, IGP Disu should move away from what his predecessors have been doing. He should go all out and get Nigeria an emergency response system. Because when you have an emergency response system in place that is very effective, 50% of crimes are already solved. Because the 50% are those who will not do the crime if they know that even before they start to commit a crime, a citizen has already died and the police are on the way. Once criminals know that, they will not do the crime. The other 30% that is left out of the 50% should be Mr. President holding commanders accountable for security failures in their areas of operation. And that will be solving 80% of crime in Nigeria. And you see some of the surprising things about policing in Nigeria. We have policemen at checkpoints. Why do you have policemen at checkpoints with their arms? This is the days of armed robbery, when we used to do that. Now we're in the days where bandits are moving 50, 100, 200 in number. What will those few policemen at that checkpoint do? They can only run for their dear lives, or if they attempt anything, they pay the supreme price. Why are we applying olden days security architecture to what is happening today? We don't have CCTV, which the commissioner has already talked about. These are the kind of things that deter criminals. If they know that I'm going to commit a crime and I'll be captured on the CCTV, they will not do the crime. So you are solving a crime without even making a move at all. You go to Nigeria, one of the very surprising things you see on Nigerian roads are vehicles or vehicles. Why would the police allow that? Because the plate number of a vehicle is the identity of that vehicle.
I mean, just to button. I mean, you talk about a number, some sort of emergency number, down number for the police. But Nigeria has a primary toll-free emergency number of 112, which, of course, some would say is equivalent to 911. You know, in countries like the US. So. Wouldn't you also want to say that that in a way suffices?
I mean, we can demonstrate it live on TV now. We can demonstrate it live on TV. We pick a phone, dial the 112, and see whether somebody will take your call and actually send a response to where you are. So these are the points. You know, you don't just put a system in place in the name of putting a system. The system must be working. It is what will deter criminals. If criminals know that before I just go and knock on somebody's door, the police are there before me in 3 to 5 minutes, they will not do that. 50% of crimes will not happen. So it's not an effective system. You can test it yourself. In fact, I was surprised when the commissioner said the number in Abuja, I think he said it was 953 or something. I live in Abuja, yet I didn't even hear about that number.
Okay.
Where is it written? Where is it shown that citizens can call this number for help? You know. Now, let me move to...
okay, so I mean, just to put this in perspective, you put me on a challenge. You said I should dial the number, and I'm doing it right now, 112, and it keeps telling me call ended. Call ended. Exactly. My producers too are trying it, and it's saying call ended. So maybe it's the net...
Dial 999, now you are going to hear the response. I will dial 999, you hear the response immediately. And if you hear that response, it is either of three things. It's either I'm calling for police, or I'm calling for an ambulance, or I'm calling for fire service. And if it is police I'm calling, they will say, what is the issue? And I will say, I'm hearing commotion in my neighbor's house, and someone is screaming.
All right.
And they will say, okay, what are there many voices? What is happening? All the time they're asking me those questions. The police are already on the way.
Mr. Agule, thank you so much. I know there's a lot to be said, but we really need to wrap this first segment of the show up. Definitely we'll bring up this conversation again and continue, because there's so much that needs to be discussed. I'd like to say a big thank you to you gentlemen, Dr. Emmanuel Ojukwu, former Commissioner of Police, and also the Provost of the Police Public Relations School in Abuja. And also I'd like to say a big thank you to Nick Agule, a Public Affairs Analyst. Gentlemen, my producer is telling me that we need to take your final thoughts. So in 30 seconds, Dr. Ojukwu, what is your advice, in 30 seconds strictly, for the new Chief of Police?
Yes, the new IG is coming at a time Nigeria needs the fight for police the most. And I'm sure he will start running from day one. He's already working, I'm aware. He has set up committees to look at various issues and to begin to give him advise him on what to do. He's committed to it and he's determined to make it work, and Nigerians should support him and give him all he needs to perform as the Chief of Police in Nigeria.
Thank you very much. How about you, Mr. Agule? 30 seconds.
very much for the 30 seconds. I want to say that President Tinubu has been talking about state police for many, many times. But I don't think the president is serious about this, because I know that if he's serious, he knows what to do. And what to do is to put a bill before the National Assembly to amend the Constitution to allow state police. That's the way to do it. When he wanted to change the national anthem, he put a bill at the National Assembly, and the National Assembly dealt with it the same day. So Mr. President knows what to do to amend the Constitution and bring state policing. So if he's really serious about it, let him do it now.
All right, gentlemen, once again, I'd like to say a big thank you for your time on the program this evening. It's been a pleasure having this conversation. Thank you once again.